So hello everyone and welcome back to our COBOL programming series. This is the lecture 7 of our programming series. Like in this session, we will be focusing on core programming concept, which is loops in COBOL. What loop does? Loop allow us to automate a repetitive task, like making programs effective and reduce the manual intervention in that. Like COBOL provides several powerful loops and constructed at today. And like today we are going to explore that in a bit detail into that how loops are working, what are the types of loop and everything. And by the end of the session, you will be having understanding of how to implement loops effectively, including their syntax and use case and the best practice. So just without wasting time, we should move ahead with the topic. Okay. So before we proceed, let me introduce you to programmers.io. We are a global software development company specialized in both legacy and modern technologies. At programmers.io, we help business to maintain and modernize their critical applications on a platform like COBOL, mainframe, CICS, S400, IBMI. Like we have been working since 2012, so we have delivered solution to many Fortune 500 companies worldwide. Like our goal is to showcase how legacy system can be work seamlessly with the modern system while continuing provide to stability and reliability. So this was a brief about the organization where I belong. Just moving forward the agenda for today. Here are the topics that what we will be covering today. Firstly, we will be going through the introduction of loop, that why, what they are and why they are important. Then we will going through program perform through loop, executing multiple sequential para sequentially, then perform until, like running a block of code until the condition set, like then perform times, repeating a block of code with the specific number of times, varying, iterating with controlled statement, like how many times you need to control, then the practical demonstration of everything, the real world with the real world example with each loop, then the best practices and the common mistake that we will be discussing with the real world application, and everything will be the practical with the practical example of that. So I think that this session will be comprising or everything about loops. That how many types of loop, what is the syntax of loop, how you will be using loop in COBOL, everything we will be covering in detail with practical examples into that. So don't get afraid by the names only. Just we will be just breaking that down into a small chunks and we'll be just understanding everything. So not a part of worry. Like this is the seventh lecture in the series. If you haven't seen the sixth lecture in the series, please go and visit the lectures. Like, and please like, comment, share. So just moving forward to our main topic, like introduction to loop. That how, like if we talk about programming, loops are being used to perform repetitive tasks effectively. Instead of writing the same code multiple times, we use a loop, like to repeat a block of code based on certain conditions. Okay, got that? In COBOL, loops are implemented using the perform statement, which is flexible and support various iteration that include the perform through. We have already discussed about the types: perform through, perform until, perform times, and perform varying. These are the mainly four types of loop. If we talk about detail, there are also subtypes of that, but mainly the COBOL entirely works on the four type of loop only, which we will be using for another condition. Why I am talking about only four? Because these are the only things that depend on that, like on what is our use, how we will be using that. It depends on our condition that which loop we will be using. Like if you want to cut the vegetables, you will be using a small knife. If you want to go to war or something, like you will be taking a big knife or big sword. So this is the difference. If you will be going in the war with a small knife for vegetable cutting, so it won't work. Same as here. There are different loops for different purposes and different needs. So it is accordingly. We will be discussing that accordingly. So just moving forward. Like type of loop we have already discussed, perform through, until, times, and varying. Like we would be always writing perform. What perform means, like I already told you, like COBOL has a English like syntax only. So perform means to do anything. And if we talk about the basics name of perform, then what is the meaning of perform? Like to do any task, like perform this task here for me, perform this for me. So what do, like, please do that for me. So it is only from that only. Perform through, what perform through does, it executes the multiple paragraphs sequentially. That when we want to execute multiple paras, we will be just going into that into detail also, was giving you a flavors of that everything. Then if we talk about perform until, it repeat a block of code until the condition meets. Like if I have written just if I talk about in general, play until it is 6 p.m. Like if you are gone for playing cricket and your mother or your guardian has said to you that play until only 6 p.m. So that you will be seeing again and again time that what, okay, it is 5:50 only. Okay, yeah, guys, it is 6, so we need to go home. We need to wrap up now. So that is the time. If we talk about the perform times, it is a fixed condition. Like just perform it 7 times, perform it 8 times. Okay, and perform varying. What perform varying means, when we have a different condition. Perform varying is a difference in text into everything, that how perform varying is been working, because why they have a difference index, that when it is that how many times it would be varying and on which condition it should vary. That's why it is a different index from all the three. Because these three are the only the simple that we have to write these things, and we will just moving towards that, and it would be working again and again. So just when this is the core, this is the base of the loop, the what loops are and what are the type of loops are. Now just moving ahead towards taking one loop and we'll be discussing in the much detail and with the practical example also. So just moving ahead with that. Okay, if we talk about perform through, what perform through does, like first we have perform through, like which allow you to execute multiple paragraphs sequentially. Like this like if we talk about perform through, this is very useful when we are grouping related operations. Like we have grouped something together and we just want to apply that. Like if we take an example, you might have initialized variable and something like that in one paragraph and displaying message in another paragraph, and execute, you want to execute them continuously. Like you have first initialize the paragraph, then you want to display the statements. Okay. So what firstly we will be doing, that perform this, like perform the initialize para, then perform the display para. So here is a simple syntax. If you see, perform paragraph 1 through paragraph 2. So like what it would be, like it would be also performing the para 1, then it will be performing the para 2. So both the para would be performing. Like it is when helpful when you want to perform something simultaneously. Like in another condition, like I want to just go to the market and come again. So just go to the shop and then go to the, like when I, if your parents have said, let me just take a real life example. Like if your parents said, like I am going to play, oh, okay, go through the nearby shop and take the ball from there. Okay, so what you will be doing, you have to do that simultaneously. That you have will be going firstly to the shop, taking the packet of balls, and then going to the garden or the ground wherever you are going to play. So that is, this is time when perform 2 is being used. Okay, so just now we will be seeing a practical example for that. Okay, where is, let's going to our VS code. I think I have written the 12th program. Okay, yeah, the example we have taken, I wrote the same example only. The variable, initialize variable, then the display number. Okay. So what firstly I have done, like this is what I initialize. Okay, just let me take you from the starting only. Program number 12, same number as I have saved the program, program tell, pgmtel program number. Then the working storage section, WS number, just declared what WS number has been, what is the value of that? It is value is 5. So, okay. Then perform initializing variable through display number. I have declared initialize a variable and displaying it through the variable. Okay, so yeah, in this example, what we have done, we have taken a perform statement. So this is the perform. We hmm? we have taken perform into that and just commenting something. Perform, like what we want to do, we want to move that. Okay, so what we have done into that, we have written perform, and what we are doing, firstly, initializing, just executing the initializing para. Initialize, whatever it is. So just this is a syntax for that, like initialize just para one, para dash one, through para two. Okay, so this is the syntax we are performing. What we will be doing, the firstly, the para one will be getting executed, and then after para two will be executing. So this is the syntax of performing through statements, loops basically. So if we talk about the same, it is written into that perform initialize para one. What is there is in the initialize para? Move zero to number. Like there are two methods for initializing. We have already discussed that. First is the manual method, and second is the auto or the function method. Like we are putting the zero into zero as num. It is also a method. Or if we put just initialize w as num, it is also a method. Both will be giving the same result only. And then what we will be displaying the number. The value of number is, so if this para haven't worked, so the value should be 5 because the value of per side is 5. And if it executed, this value should be 0. Okay, because it would be overridden into the 5. It's the 0 would be overridden, so it would be displaying 0 into that. So we'll be just executing that and seeing the result of that. But before that, uh, I think that you have been understood that what exactly perform through means and how it has been executed, isn't it? So just moving with the execution of that, compilation of that firstly, then execution. Just moving towards the compilation. I've written only 12 program. Yeah, it is make 60. And execute it. Submit the JCL. Yeah, I want to execute it. Opening 605. Okay. So you can see what the result we have got. The value of number is 0, 0. So it means that this para has been initialized and worked with another para. That's why we got a result. If it won't be haven't initialized and the initialized para haven't been executed, we won't get the result for that, isn't it? I hope you have got this perform through loop exactly that what it does. Okay, when I also give an example that we want to perform through. If we are going to, if we are going to the playground or something like that, in your parents has had to that, just move towards a shop and take the bus, then go through to the garden. So just firstly you will go into the shop, taking the packet of ball or something like that, and then going to the garden. So yeah, that's it. This is the thing into that. This is moving towards another loop into that. Okay, now it is perform until. If we talk about the perform until statement, is a conditional loop that execute a block of code until a specific condition met. Okay, or if we take an example of that, you can use it as a process of files until the end of file. Like if we talk what I want, like execute this until the end of file. Okay, until is very useful for this kind of thing, like perform until, like I also give an example, practical example, that play until 6 p.m. So that is an example that if 6 p.m. don't have to do the work. And when we are reading a file in the coming lectures, we will be going towards the file handling and that concept. At that time when we are reading a file, like if there are 10 records, we will be using perform until only, that read until the end of file. So you don't have to that read 10 records. If there are 20 records, read the 20 records. If there are 30 records, read 30 records. It doesn't matter. Just read until end of the file. Okay. So the same syntax it is there. And if I have mentioned until, so it will be working until the conditional false. If the conditional false, it would be just going towards another para or something, that statement, and the loop will be ended. Okay. So if you take this example, perform until the WS counter is 10, display WS counter. So it would be adding one and one again. At that any time it would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and at any time it would be 10. So the loop will be ending and it would be end perform. Okay, so just moving towards a practical example of that. It was 12th, I think it is number 13th, I think. Okay. Just let, yeah, perform until. It is number 30. Just. Yeah. So this, yeah. Understand this program, then we will be just executing that. We have just put a WS counter into that. The example we have seen in the presentation. We have taken a WS counter. What the counter will be doing, it will be counting the values of that. And what we have written into the procedure division, when we have written a perform, we have to write end perform into that. Just remember that for when we are writing perform and end perform, we need to end the perform, because it would be just moving towards, because it would be endless, because it is a good practice when we are starting something, we had to end this. So this is the same concept you are using here. Perform until WS counter, okay, greater than 10. Okay, when it is greater than 10, just enter the condition. Okay, so then display the value of counter. So firstly, the value of 1, so it will be displaying the 1, taking the value as 1 into the loop. It would be displaying 1 here, then adding it, so number is 2 now. Again, just moving towards that, we're displaying the value 2, adding 1, it is now 3 now, so value to coming to the counter value 3, then it is going again, so it will be just moving light that only until it is 10 here. Because why? Because it should be greater than or less than 10 always. Okay, so at that time it would be just moving, the condition will be ending, and we will be just marking that off. This is going towards a compile statement into that. Okay, let me just go. Ah, when we are talking about the counter, it is less than 10. Okay, so it will be executing in the 9 condition only, because 9 is less than 10. Okay, 9 is greater than, would be executing for 10. Also, 10 is greater than, like when we are coming into 5, it would be executing that. 7, it would be executing that. 8, it would be executing that. 9 is greater than, okay, yeah, it would be executing. 10 is greater than, yeah, okay. It would be pretty, it would be string 10 also at this thing. So just moving towards the compilation issue, compiling thing. Submit as JCL, just submit this. Submit. Yeah, now we have the output for it. Okay, yeah. The thing I was just thinking in my mind that what it will be building 10 also. What I was thinking, like many times we put just greater than or equal to. So it just the condition wrapped up on the 9th position only. So I was just seeing that I have put that on. So I haven't put that. So it has worked from till 10, because it was just given one value, then given the second value, then printing the third value, then printing the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th. And then when it is coming the 10th value, it is also printed that. But when it is coming the 11th value, 11 is greater than 10. So the loop has been breakdown and we got our output as this. And so it would be going and end perform, and we have written stop run into that. It will be ending the statement. So yeah, this is the example of perform until. Okay, now just we will be walking through the perform times. The perform time loop executes a block of code for a specific number. Like you can see with the times only, you can also just see that for n times, for 10 times, for 15 times, for 100 times, perform this 100 times. It doesn't matter that what the condition is there or not. Just perform it 100 times. When it is useful when you want know the condition, that how much time you need to execute the loop, that you don't know before you, there is not any specific condition. Like we talked about when we talked about until, like I said that it should be until the end of file. There can be some, might be 5 record, 10 record, 20 record, 200 records. At the time you don't know, so it was made a bit dynamic, that just end and work until the end of file. But at the time you will be in specific conditions, so work only 10 times. I don't want much more than 10. Just move that bit 10 times and then break the loop. Okay, just moving towards the practical example of that. Okay, it would be okay. So let me just explain you the code. Working history section, I have displayed a message, pick of max of 20, hello COBOL, then perform this 5 times, display message, WOS message, the message this is, and end perform, then stop run. As simple as that. This is the most simple example I am seeing. What it would be doing, everyone would be knowing that every time perform 5 times. So it would be performing the loop 5 times, and I will be getting hello Google, hello Google, hello Google 5 times. As simple as that. Just compiling this. 14. Yeah. Submitting this JCL. Yeah, it has been submitted. Yeah. We have the result 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times hello Google. Why 5 times? Because we have entered that it should become only 5 times. Okay. I mentioned this is the most simple loop, I think, because it works on the condition only. Just write at the condition times. It would be working on that time. If you have written 100, it would be working on 100 times. Okay. So I think that this is the most simple into that loop statements. Just coming again to the presentation. Now we are talking about perform varying. This is a bit different from other. We are just really just I will just walking through that. Perform varying is a, like it will be a controlled loop. Like when a variable is been initialized, incremented, and checked again the condition. That time it is called perform varying. If you just see the syntax of that, like start with an initial value, incremented each time with the loop runs, and stop when the condition is met. This is the perfect for tasks like summing up the numbers, iterating through the arrays. We will be seeing a practical demonstration of that, but it would be this is the perfect for when we want a sum of numbers. When you want to iterate something, like what is that? Just going through again to the syntax of that. Perform varying, yeah, perform varying, where like what is where it would be value, that from where it want to just value. Perform varying, it is the variable name, that where the variable is from start value by increment until condition. It would be three things into that only. Like we have seen other loops that it would be having everything inside that only. Just let me move towards the practical example of that. You will be just getting more comfortably. Okay. And just product number 15. We have two variables here. One is WS counter and another is WS sum. First is the division performing varying. Okay. Perform varying, it is a syntax. WS counter. What WS counter would be doing? It is the variable which is be iterating the loop, by which we will be iterating the loop from one. Like I want to start that from the first position. So starting from one by one. But what by means, like then the second number would be two. and then there would be 3, then it would be 4, then it would be 5, then it would be 6, like until WS counter is greater than 10. Got that? What do it means that perform varying WS counter, just explaining that again. Perform varying WS counter, what counter will be doing? It will be working as a subordinate of that, like to iterate the loop, the condition iterating. It would take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from 1. Like this is the starting point of that. By this is the difference, that by how much difference you want to increase. Like we can also write 2 here if you want. Just write 2 here. At that time, it would be working from 1, then it would be going to 3, then it would be going to 5. So the entire loop will be working only 5 times. Got that? When we have written 2. But when we are writing 1 here, it would be just working 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Because every time it is increasing by 1 only. So this is until the counter, and add counter to WS sum. What we are exactly what we are doing, let me tell you that. We are just taking the sum of first 10 numbers. So every time we are using, how we are using the counter, we are using the counter as a sum variable, like changing number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And when we are adding, like I have added 1 into 2, it is 3. So the statement, the sum should be stored in some variable, because next time I believe coming with 3, it's the 3 should be present, and 3 plus 3, it would be 6. So there should be present somewhere. So that at this that task will be doing with WS sum. WS sum will be storing the value of that. Add WS counter to sum. Every time it would be first time. Just let me write here to be more helpful for you. Uh, yeah. Okay. So the first iteration will be 1 plus 0, because we have initialized it as 0. The second iteration will be 1, oh sorry, 2 plus, okay, what is happening? Yeah, 2 plus 1. Okay. The third iteration will be, it will be 3 plus 3, because we have stored like 1 plus 0, it is 1 is to 2 plus 1, 3 it is 4. What will be the fourth iteration will be doing that? What will the fourth iteration will be doing? 4 plus 3, 3, 6, 6. Okay. So this is how it would be working. Like in the end, 10th iteration, it will be working like 10 plus what would be the sum of that? I don't know the sum. I'm not good that much with mathematics. So just, what would be the sum of that? So I will just working that condition it would be working. So I think now it is clear to you. Just moving towards the execution part of that, and what end performs, and we have ended perform, what after the loop we have written, the sum of number from 1 to 10 is WS sum. Like because this process is ended, now WS sum has the value of entire this thing. It has store the sum of entire 1 to 10 numbers into this WS sum. So we will be just printing that. For why we have written outside the loop, because if we every time we have been writing it inside, it will be giving us 10 values. I don't want 10 values. I just want the sum of numbers from 1 to 10. That's why I've written that out. Okay. Just performing the 15th number. Yeah, so let me change here also. Just saving this. Let me just dismiss this because you'll be getting a new job now. Yeah, okay. So the sum of number is 1 to 10 is 55. Okay, you can that add also. I don't know that it is 55, but I trust COBOL mathematics that it is like Harshit, why there is 0, 0, 0, 3 zeros? Why there are 3 zeros? But I haven't entered 3 zeros. Why there is 3 zeros? Because we have declared WS sum as 5 characters. So to be taking the 5 characters, like there are only 10 characters at this moment. 2 characters had been filled at this moment. So the 3 character would be 0. If it would be 6, it would there will be 4 characters which have been 0. Okay, got that? I think you got that. Hmm. Like guys, if you have any doubt, just put that into comment. We'll be surely replying to that comment. We'll be getting to the answers of that. Practice this as much as you can, because it would be making yourself your benefit only for that. So practice as much you can into that. Just going towards a uh, presentation now. Yeah, practical demonstration like I've given to the what is going through from starting to end. We have seen perform through grouping multiple operation like initializing, displacing message. Then in until we have seen printing numbers from 1 to 10. Then in perform times we have been displaying hello COBOL 5 times. Then in perform varying we will be we have summed number from 1 to 10. These were the things we have done. We will be practicing more on this. Like there are many things into that, so you can just try this. If you will be just making reading more resources, you will getting more type of loop. But basically, COBOL consists only these four loop only. Like there are writing different. Let me take you again. Okay, like it was 14th. Just want to tell you one thing: inline COBOL and inline loop. What is inline? Like what inline is, this is outer line into that. When we are performing that in three lines, if we just take into single line, it would be inline like this. Like I have seen some article who have been confusing regarding this, that wow, inline is a different. It is not a different type of loop, yeah. Yeah, this is the inline. That in the single line, I have described everything into that. It will also work. The same thing I've did previously. It will also work. Why it will work? Because it is also a kind of writing method is different. Like it would be giving a big heading inline loops in COBOL. It is the same thing only. This is a writing difference only. Okay. I hope you got that. Okay, so the common mistakes, but you everyone would be writing into that is first of all just like, and then I will also be putting the best practice of what we can write with the clear and simple condition. Firstly, just write clear and simple conditions into that. Don't just mess up with everything. Always initialize an increment variable. Like when we are using a fresh variable, just initialize that, and after that, make you properly that you are incrementing that variable properly. Avoid hard-coded values. I always say that avoid hard-coded values. Use parameters to pass that. Like test with the some test cases. Use some test cases into that. And if you talk about the common mistakes, forgetting to update the loop variable. If you haven't updated the loop variable, it would be just going through printing the simple condition only, or it can also be go to the infinite loop condition. Misplacing condition, which results into incorrect termination of the loop. Using overlay complex logic into that. Use complex logic, but make it a bit clear to just like you can identify, because if you would be just taking this after 1 or 2 days, it would be difficult to you to understand what you have done, because it would be only difficult you for debugging. What debugging is, when you are seeing and what assigning seeing the code that what the values are coming into the variable, that is called debugging. It would be only difficult for you to just debug the things. Okay, avoid this kind of common mistakes and that. And I've also provided a solution for that. Okay, what are the best practices to write? Just write clear concept and clear simple loop into that. Initialize them and update them. Like I have already told you these things when we are talking about the common mistake. Like with the correct connecting with the common mistakes only. Avoid hard-coded value. Test the condition into that. Test the cases into that in your mind, that what cases it would be. Okay. So these are the things that we have been seeing this. So this is the entire in this session. Like in this session, we have completed the entire thing into the loop. That what loop is. Just moving towards another slide. Recap and next step. What is the next? What we topics we have covered. Just we have gone through the why loop is important. Why we are using loop. Then we move towards the through loop, until loop, times loop, variant loop. Practical example of every loop, practical explanation of everything, application, daily life application, that why it would be using towards that. And at the next lecture, we would be just moving to this array and table handling into that. And like how array has been handled into COBOL, and what is table handling. Are they things different, or are they both the things are same? Okay, so we'll just discussing that in detail in another session. So thank you for joining. It was the COBOL session on loops. We'll be just moving with another series into lecture. If you haven't subscribed the channel, please subscribe the channel. We will be giving regular updates into that into COBOL and mainframe programming. So it will be helpful for you to nurture into that. Okay, so goodbye. Just me into another video of COBOL to tables and array handling. Thank you, everyone.